Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando, everyone. It's Monday, February the 27th, 8:38 p.m. Thank you so much for being live with us. We're about 13 people live right now. Thank you so much for your support. Before I start and I present everyone here, obviously the whole panel, I wanted to encourage everyone to keep subscribing to our YouTube channel. We're live right now on all of our outlets: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can search us as Loud and Proud Orlando or LP underscore podcast. And also, we're live right now on YouTube. Thank you so much. Drop us a thumbs up. And also, you can leave your comments. And also, we join our Discord server. We have a Discord server available if you want to talk, find out what we're doing during the day, covering OCSC, Orlando Pride, or OCB. Feel free to always reach out. Our Discord server is on the comment box. It's linked right there. It's free to join. So feel free to go ahead and join the Purple community. Before we start, I want to congratulate Orlando City with a win, undefeated home season opener against New York Red Bulls, tough opponent. We'll dive into the first half of Orlando, which I did ask Oscar Pareja of what occurred. Only one shot on goal. We'll dive in and all into that. Some of the issues from last season, we're still trying to overcome those, but there's a lot of hope. And then we'll dive into presenting our guest today, Laurel from Queen City Press, Cincinnati. She's going to be talking with us all about FC Cincinnati, how their form is coming to the game, what can we expect from Cincinnati, and also we're going to show our appreciation too and kind of tell a little bit about what they need to expect about Orlando City as well. So welcome, Laura. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. And my last name, I should have told you before we got on here. It's pronounced Pfahler.
Taylor. There
Yes.
you go. I didn't want to botch it, so
I could tell you were holding back. You
yeah.
were thinking about it, but
Yeah, I didn't want to watch it. Yeah. So, thank you for being here. We appreciate you having you, and it's definitely going to be a great convo. If you're actually listening to this right now, her McQueen City Press info, it's going to be on the description on all of our Spotify and Apple Podcast accounts. You guys can check her out. Also, her Twitter will be on there. So, guys, if you want to keep in touch with Laurel, all her info will be there as well. Paola, how are you? How was the
Um,
win?
Fantastic. I was scared a little bit, but the boys delivered the 3 points, and that's what it matters. So, looking forward for this episode of how we did and to expect on Saturday. So, I'm happy. Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday. What's up, John? How you doing, my friend?
Good, man. Always good to start a win and 3 points. There were some minuses. We'll talk about those, but the plus 3 points, a home opener. That's what you want.
Sure. Let's read some comments real quick. Joshua Tall says Galese played great. I am happy with the win, but I thought that there should have been two penalties for Orlando City. It says not great from us as Banjo. Happy to see some good performances from El Pulpo, Holiday, and Enrique, but left the game with some concerns, especially with that first half. Terrible passing. So I let's start with that, and then we'll dive into Cincinnati also. One thing that happened last season a lot with Orlando is the lack of finishing the attacking play, and I have the stats from the actual when I went to cover, and the first half I wrote it right here, like zero shots on goal. Like the first half, there was zero shots on goal, literally zero shots. And this New York team, it wasn't also their best night in my opinion. They were I think a tougher team last year than they shown against Orlando. And in the second half, Orlando had only 5 shots on goal, and then obviously Facundo Torres's penalty goal, right? And that I did brought that into Pareja's attention, and he said, we're just happy with the win, and the concerns there, but we're trying to get better, and people are gonna gel. It takes time to gel, and guys, it is we're playing against, in my opinion, one of a really good team coming up, Cincinnati. It's not just any team. In my opinion, I think they're better they have better weapons than New York City, New York Red Bulls right now. There's a lot of hope in Cincinnati for this team. They just won their first season opener, right? After I think 4 defeats, I think it was. So there's a lot of hope for them. What were your thoughts on that first half, John? I mean, point blank.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right. There was all the build-up play, and there was no final ball. Like, we just couldn't make that last pass or get the guy into space to make the shot, or the cross wasn't connecting, or the shot was off target. Just every phase of play seemed to end just without us getting the ball in a position where we could shoot. Some of that, I think, was down to Urchin Kara. Really, from him, I did not see a lot of effort. I was a little bit concerned that they put him in. I think that he didn't really play at all in the preseason. He's just been affected by what happened with his friend Christian Atsu back in Turkey. I didn't think it was the right move to start him. And I think he kind of showed that he was off the pace and he was a step behind in that first half. But not only that, I think Torres and Ojeda, they weren't really connecting at all in that first half either. It just kind of seemed disjointed. There was a lot of attacking phases and a lot of plays that just ended in nothing. And the Red Bulls should have capitalized on that. They should have gone down the other end. They should have scored another goal. And we got away with it. But if we play like that against Cincy that we did in the first half, they will score goals. They have much more attacking threat. And they will punish us for doing it.
And not only that, I want to add, and I want to ask this to Laurel before I go to Paola. I mean, your back line, Cincy's back line, to me, it's like top notch with Mosquera and Miazga, former Chelsea player. I mean, I think, and Santiago Arias too, just added another weapon right there as a right back. We actually mentioned Santiago Arias being available here at the pod a few episodes back when the transfer market was still open. And, again, I think Mikey Holiday is doing great, but Santiago Arias definitely showed why he played in Europe. So what are your thoughts regarding, I don't know if you saw the Orlando's game, but I mean, how can Orlando exploit that backline, which in my opinion, I think it's very tough. I think they have a better backline than New York Red Bulls.
That's really interesting to hear someone say that, because the defense has been the weakness of FC Cincinnati for a while now, but it is a much improved backline. I think, like you mentioned, Yerson Mosquera, he's just so fast.
Yeah.
Miazga he's really locking things down in the middle. And then, Nick Haglin's been pretty solid. A lot of people didn't really expect much from him. He was kind of supposed to be the backup. The last 4 years, he was supposed to be the backup, and still ended up.
He's your Rodrigo Schlegel.
Yeah. So, I think where Orlando can probably exploit that defense is on going down the left. So going down Orlando's right side of the attack. So the left side for the defense with Alvaro Barrial, he's more of an attack minded. Yeah. He's a winger, really, playing wing back, and he's gotten a lot better defensively, but he gets pretty far up the field, and teams in the past have really taken advantage of that side of the ball. I think Yerson kind of helps because of his speed. He can cover a lot of ground, so kind of makes up for that. If Barrial gets sucked up into the attack and there's a counter attack, he'll be covering a lot of ground. But I mean, it's still a little bit of a concern because they don't have a lot of depth on the back line. So if something happens, I am a little worried. Matt Miazga's wife is pregnant and she is due any day now. So you don't know if he's going to be, when he's going to be gone. So if he's not in, then I would guess that Yerson's going to be in the middle, and they'd have to put Ian Murphy, their only other center back, as the left center back. But yeah, hopefully for FC Cincinnati's sake, maybe that happens earlier in the week, or I don't know how. I asked him last week. He's like, any day now. Can you schedule it?
Wow.
So it could be on Saturday then. I'm just kidding.
Who knows?
He could be an Orlando baby, right? if she's over if she moves
Could be.
down. I highly doubt.
I don't know.
No, I was just kidding. No, but definitely Matt Miazga, he never got a shot at Chelsea, and I think now Chelsea is definitely probably thinking, we should have maybe tried him out. They're doing so terrible right now. Um, Paola, to you, the first half. What do you make out of the first half and defensively? I mean, I think that the shine bright like a diamond moment of Orlando was Mikey Holiday the whole 90 minutes.
Uh,
How do you feel about that?
I had PTSD of last season for sure because we, like John said, we couldn't connect. Ojeda and Facu, they didn't look lost, but they couldn't break that defensive line of New York Red Bulls at any moment in the first half. And I could see Ojeda a little bit lost because he's new and he's trying to see what this league is, what it's all about. And Mikey was 2 or 3 times by himself in front of the and the offensive line. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was an oversight of them not looking at Mikey when he was available by himself, because I caught him like 2 or 3 times. You can correct me if I'm wrong, John. I don't remember. But I got PTSD on the first half. I was like, come on, team. It was a totally complete team of what we saw in the preseason. And it's fine. I'm kind of glad that we faced New York Red Bulls in the beginning of the season because we can correct some of the errors that we did, and we're trying to see what we can improve. And you asked Pareja, like, what happened? And I saw his face, like he was like talking to his assistant coach, like, we need to do something.
Yeah,
And he was like I saw his change of his face, and I'm like, ooh, Luis asked a great question. So so let's see what the boys are cooking for against Cincy this Saturday.
And then, going down in Cincinnati's lineup, in my opinion, 3 very dynamic players. I was very impressed with the Nigerian international, Nigeria under 20, and I don't know if I'm murdering his last name, but and Wobodo.
It's Obi. We call him Obi, and then
Obi.
it's Nuobodo.
Nuobodo. There you go. I mean, he was great. I mean, he's definitely an attacking threat, and what I liked the most was his versatility in defense too. Very tight with Acosta. I think him being so compact in transition was making Acosta going more in the attack and be more present. Not worrying, who's behind me, because he knows that Moreno and Obi are right there. What do you make out of, now we're talking about the midfield onwards? What does Cincinnati have to offer, and what were some things that maybe impressed you against Houston, and things that maybe they could improve?
Well, I mean, the Houston game really wasn't their best performance. They had a ton of turnovers, and it just wasn't. If they would end up getting a turnover themselves, then they'd just give it right back. So you really couldn't see that attack come together. The attack is really the strength of this team with Renner, Vasquez, and Lucho. Those guys combined for 46 goals and 33 assists last year. And so, for some reason, it's just the passing wasn't there. Even Nwobodo had some struggles. He's been I think he was probably the most underrated signing for FC Cincinnati last year when he came in April. He just locks things down defensively. And against Houston, it seemed like I was surprised he was getting so far into the attack. I think that's something that he didn't have any goals last year. And really, I think he only ended up with 6 shots all of last year. So I think they're intentionally trying to get him up the field a little bit more. And you saw that against Houston. And then he ended up getting a goal. So it was nice to see him and then Sergio Santos get goals for FC Cincinnati, because really all the conversation last year was those big 3 attackers getting all the goals. And, where are these other goals going to come from if those guys are struggling? And so to see that early on, I think that was a big deal for them. I don't know if we'll see Sergio starting or if Brenner is ready to go, if he'll be in there. But either way, I think that's just the strength, is they've got really talented forwards. And then Lucho kind of ties it all together with just such a creative player And I know he's said before, like sometimes he feels like he's almost a step ahead of everyone. He'll pass the ball thinking someone's going there, and then he kind of throws his hands up like, where were you? Like, I thought you were going there. And I think he's just such a talented player that even his teammates can't keep up with him.
Now we're talking about attacking prowess, and obviously Orlando City displayed. I think their surprise, in my opinion, I think he just wanted to play well this game. It was Ramiro Enrique. He just came in and he's like, he looked in his eyes like determined to cause some damage. He just, like, I mean, it was his first game, and he just looked like as he was played in that position like in Orlando for a couple of seasons. What do you take out of that, John, against the Red Bulls? I mean, he did that play that was silky right on the wing. I mean, what do you
Yeah.
make out of all of that? And
I mean,
the Holland of the Harlan didn't make it, man. What's going on?
well, I mean, that's why I said I don't think Carr was ready. I don't think he'd seen enough time, and I think that showed. And then what happens? It showed even more when Enrique came on, and he was doing the things that Carr wasn't. Carr was not willing to run and chase the ball, and that's immediately what Enrique started doing. And he started putting pressure on the back line of the Red Bulls that they hadn't seen all game. And several chances he created basically just by being a good pressing forward, chasing down the ball, causing pressure, and just being able to get the ball away and start an attack. That one in particular, Luis, where I think you're talking about where he ran up the left side of the field.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
exactly.
he pretty much created that out of
He
nothing
created that
for
by himself.
So,
That's right.
like, he, I think, smells blood in the water. I think he says, okay, well, Carr is the guy, but if he's not going to score and they're going to bring me on, and then I score, if I start doing that, they're going to put me in as the starting striker. So if he's that kind of guy where he's like a striker mentality where he says, I must get out there and score goals, then yeah, sure. He looks like it. I mean, he was running around like a little firecracker.
And a lot of people, when I left the stadium on that day, they were like, hey, he looks ready to start. Let's start him. Let's start him right now. And I was like, well, and a lot of people were surprised that Kara started because I kind of in a way knew that he was going to start. I did mention it briefly, but I did it because, I mean, he's a DP. I mean, and in a way, the league here, they always like to, give the preference to the DP.
But I just don't think he had enough preseason. Like, he looked
Yeah.
not match fit, right? I don't think he was 100% fit is what I'm saying. This is why I wouldn't have started him.
No, and it's different. It's a different story with FC Cincinnati because Brenner, obviously, quite an attacker in Sao Paulo. He killed it. I know for a fact. He was monitored by a lot of big teams in Brazil to move in Europe. I guess there was a rumor a few months back about him maybe going into Serie A. Do you know anything about that, Laurel, at all? Is that real, or is just smoke bombs?
No, it was real. They wanted him. They just FC Cincinnati wanted a little bit more than they were willing to offer, so that one didn't work out. The one that ended up coming right at the end of the transfer deadline was Nottingham Forest with the English Premier League, but that was an issue because it was going to be a loan, and FC Cincinnati wouldn't have been able to replace his DP spot if he ended up coming back. They can't have they would have had all their spots filled if they replaced him with another DP. So I don't think that they really wanted to. I don't think they were ready to replace him in the first place, but just I don't think the loan was the best option. And I think that they kind of know that if he keeps on the track, I mean, he looked really good at the beginning of the preseason. Coach Pat Noonan talked about how early on he was just what you would expect, one of the best players in preseason, and just looked really good. So I think they're kind of thinking if he can just pick up where he left off last year, he scored his 18 goals over the last 20 games. So had a really slow start last year because he missed all of preseason getting a green card. And then
Wow.
he ended up missing the last 3 weeks of this preseason because of some things that happened around that transfer falling through. He had taken some time away from training and then had a family issue come up. So he was away, which is why he didn't start last week. But yeah, he'll be a player to watch, and I think he'll probably be gone this summer.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal player. And, I do want to say the East right now, it's plagued with a lot of good strikers. I mean, you're talking about, Orlando has Ramiro Enrique, right? And, Erjan Cara. But what I'm talking about here is Enzo Copetti in Charlotte. Yeah, Brenner in Cincinnati. And one thing that Cincinnati did, in my opinion, was finding a suitable backup for Brenner, because I think Santos is right that type of player. Very, I would say, not the same type of attacker, but I want to say it's a very good backup, tactically speaking. He can definitely move like Brenner, some instances, but also defend. And I think that's one of the things that FC Cincinnati is definitely a huge threat. Now, Paola, what do we have to do? Definitely, attempt to neutralize FC Cincinnati and that attack that I'm talking about.
Well, if Laurel said to us that one of the weakness for Cincinnati is the defense, we might break that defense line, the defensive line that we couldn't break against the New York Red Bulls, and we can see Ojeda and Facu trying to find Kara. If Kara starts, that's a big question mark. I feel that he's gonna start, and then we're gonna see the same switch with Ramiro at the half because he is brand new. He's trying to prove himself. If he continues like that in the future, he's gonna be a starter. But if we can break those defensive line, Kara will receive more balls and see if he can score a goal. So hopefully we can see that on Saturday present that we couldn't see it on in the last match. So hopefully the boys are practicing a lot that on this week training. So let's see.
So let's do our possible 11 for the game against Cincinnati. I don't know if you, John, wanna start. I mean, what would you like to see? I mean, I think Galese again saving us right
Oh, I
at the
mean,
end.
Gillespie for sure.
MVP.
Gillespie for sure. Yeah, I mean, no one else there. A question that I had, this kind of ties into
Yep,
us laying
definitely.
out the formation. Because Cincy, they're playing the three at the back with the wing backs, is there a chance that Oscar goes, let's go like for like and let's match them, because we've been using that preseason? Were we preparing that for this Cincy game? Could that be what he does? Or do you think we're just going to stick with the 4-2-3-1? I think maybe that's why he's been practicing it. This could be the scenario. So I want to throw that out to you guys and see what you think.
I mean, personally, and then I'll give the mic to Laurel. I mean, you need to play Cincinnati conservatively with that type of attack. Um, just keep it classic. That's the way I would do it. Four in the back. 4-4-2 if anything, or 4-3-3. I wouldn't really
Well, some
make
people
a
will
lot of.
argue that 5 at the back is like more
Right. I
defensive
mean, if you
actually
want,
than
if you,
attacking.
yeah,
It depends
right,
how attacking you're. Like if you put Angulo back there,
right,
then
but
yes. But if you put Mikey Halliday, a little different, right? So
right, but then what happens is it could happen like what Laura was saying with Cincinnati, right? I mean, what if one of your win backs is in La La Land and leaves a gap, and then you have a guy like Brenner exploiting that side? He's gonna punish you. What are your thoughts regarding that, Laurel? Do you see, because Orlando's been playing the line, the line of three, line of four? What do you think it would be a good system for Orlando to play against Cincinnati?
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, I mean, I can see the like for like maybe making some sense, but um, I would just, I mean, if they're more comfortable with the four in the back, I would say just probably I would probably just go with that. You want to play however you're most comfortable. And then I don't know if they have someone I don't know. That's tough. I'm not giving a
I
good
know I
answer
threw
here, guys.
a
Sorry.
real spanner in the works there. Really, I was. These guys were not ready for that big question of what formation are we going to play. We thought we settled on the four at the back, which we probably are. Most likely, that's what he's going to play. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, why were we doing it all preseason? Maybe there's a chance that's why he's doing it. It's because he wants to line up the same way against teams that also play three center back.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely an option. We can do both if you want. I mean, we can definitely dive into into
No,
both.
let's
But
go with the four. I'm just
let's do it with
throwing
the four.
pie in the
Yeah,
sky
I mean,
ideas at you.
thinking about it, the four probably makes sense because you're gonna have. Well, I don't. But Lucho gets so far up the field too that
Right.
maybe the three center backs might make sense. But if you got someone with, if you're on the four, like the wing backs go so far up the field too,
Mhm.
so you could have. I don't know. The four might make sense, but it kind of depends on their approach with Lucho. I think like how they think the best way to
I think the
neutralize him would
approach
be.
is Araujo. Just figure
Exactly.
Right.
Cesar
Araujo,
is
That
gonna
Lucho.
be
So
that
that's
on
when
his
you play it
back.
like this, and
yeah.
you just say
This is gonna.
Araujo, follow him, and don't let him go anywhere.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be Cesar Araujo, which I mean he had a I mean compared to last season, I think he was. I think Mauricio was, in my opinion, in the passing a little sloppy. I would say Araujo was picking up a lot of the broken plates, in my opinion, from Mauricio, and you didn't really see him try to go into the attack. He was very defensive oriented on the game against the Red Bulls. And another one that really surprised me, and we'll touch on this too, is Ojeda. Right, I expected ticking time bomb, like let's go, like because the way he's been playing in preseason, it was link up with Facundo, link up with Angulo, link up after link up after link up, all three in the middle, and then come.
Disappeared.
I want to say he was nervous. I mean, I don't know what you think about that, John.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like we talked about. We expect great offseason automatically equals great team equals instant results. It doesn't work that way. You got to have a little bit of time for these guys to gel together. And so I think that's what we saw in that first half was a perfect example of, you've got last year's star in Facundo Torres, and then you've added in another big presence in the field in Martin Ojeda. And those two guys have to figure out how they want to play together and how they want to work with the rest of the team, like Mauricio Pereira and Gulo. So it takes a little bit of time to figure that out. It's not going to be instant. And I also agree that Ojeda was maybe, that first game, it's a little bit nervy and, he maybe didn't look as comfortable as we'd had hoped him to look.
So, guys, do we think this is going to be the? I mean, I'm just pretty much putting the last games starting 11. I mean,
It's gonna be the
um,
same. It's not gonna be. I don't see any
Yeah.
actually,
changes.
I will go like this. Actually,
And
like that.
Jensen to the other way. I think it is. And
Yeah,
Rodrigo
yeah,
swap
yeah,
it. There you go.
yep,
Yeah. Jansen's
yep,
left footed. They like him on the
yep.
left side.
That's right. Yeah. So Rodrigo, Jensen, Sobi, Galese, Holiday, Rodrigo, Jensen, Petrasso, and then Mauricio playing as a number 8 with Cesar Araujo there as a 6, Ojeda as your number 10, and then two wings. You got Angulo and Facu. Angulo on the left, Facu on the right. Now, the good thing about that I really like about Orlando City's line of 4 was Holiday and Petrasso. I actually thought Petrasso was going to have some struggles. I'll be honest with you. I have zero faith for my boy Luca Petrasso, and he definitely shut me up. I mean, he definitely shut me up. I mean, he was not maybe the most like technical and silky like maybe Santiago Arias, right? In his position, somebody that has the poise to go into the attack but also retreat very well in European level. But he was tactically sound and he had the speed to go back and defend and be right there. He was definitely a presence out in the back, and it really made the wings for the Red Bulls difficult. And then obviously the same was for Mikey Holiday, which impressed me tremendously. And I think I'm gonna give this to John. John definitely called it Mikey Holiday. You
Yeah, I
called it.
mean, I think he showed why he should be in the team, and he's going to continue to do that. And I think actually what was interesting was perhaps some of those chances that were created by the Red Bulls in the first half were more to blame, I would say, on Janssen and Rodrigo than they were on Petrasso and Holiday. So you got the young guys who everyone was a little bit worried about bailing out the more experienced center backs. Now, like, that's great. Like, that's exactly what I want to see from these guys, is they're mature enough to be able to help out and cover and be in the right position. Like, that positioning is something that's very difficult as a fullback, very difficult in defense on the whole. And I feel like Rodrigo and Jensen sometimes got that wrong, whereas Petrasso and Holiday, their positioning all game was on point.
And Laurel, what do you make out of this lineup of Orlando City? I mean, we're talking about pretty much the same lineup that lined up against the Red Bulls. So it's probably more than likely what Pareja is going to go and try to put on the against Cincinnati on Saturday. What do you make out of the three in the middle, right? Angulo, Heida, Facu, and then maybe Urgent Kara. What is your take on Orlando?
Yeah, I mean, this is very helpful actually to me because I did watch. I only watched the first half and then I watched the highlights so I could see the penalty and everything. But I was having a hard time on the broadcast picking out who was who
Right.
from that far camera angle at times. So this is helpful. But yeah, I mean that midfield looks pretty strong. Like I said, I mean the midfield for FC Cincinnati is. I think they're better than what they showed on Saturday with all the turnovers and things. But if those guys can put pressure on FC Cincinnati, then I don't know if that's something they're susceptible to is the turnovers. But yeah, I mean that could be a strength for Orlando there.
Now, and I'm gonna throw this to Paula. Obviously, the captain is Mauricio Pereira, right? Now, what do you make out of Pareja deciding to put Cartagena in minute 90? I mean, wouldn't we want to see just what Laurel was saying, right? If you're trying to exploit Cincinnati's, kind of being sloppy with the ball at times, why don't you put somebody like Cartagena that is good at doing that? Trying to recouping the ball defensively. Would you maybe rest Mauricio in the first half? Would you do that, or am I being too harsh?
A little bit too harsh, but I would start Mauricio and then probably not wait until the 90th minute to put Cartagena on. Remember, the following week we're going to Mexico, and they need to, if they want to win Mexico, they need to rest legs there. So I will put a little bit earlier and sub Mauricio if it all depends, and I think how is going on the first half, then Papi will choose what to sub in 1 minute. Hopefully, it's not in the 90th. We see it way much earlier for Mauri because he needs to rest if they want to utilize him for Mexico. So
Excellent. Let's read some comments. Let's see. Would love to have Antonio Carlos available for this weekend. I think, don't we all? We would love to have him back. I highly doubt it. He's still questionable, so we'll try to monitor that in a few days. Joshua Tall, will Antonio Carlos be available to play? We don't know yet. We'll find out probably in the next few days. When will Gaston be available to play? I think he's still having some issues with his visa.
he's
So,
back. He's
oh, he's
back.
back already?
Yep, and
Okay.
he doesn't hold an international spot anymore. So
So he's gonna have some minutes then. That's fantastic. That's great news. So just to help out Laurel right here, so he would be the maybe change of pace for Ivan Angulo on the left wing. Gaston Gonzalez, he played in Argentina in Unión de Santa Fe last season. He was really good, top in his former club, I think, and unfortunately he had a torn ACL injury the last game before traveling to Orlando. In his farewell game, somebody knocked him out, and yeah, and so he came already to do rehab here to Central Florida. So that would be Gaston Jimenez. let's read some comments here. Yeah, a lot of guys arrived late to the preseason. Says E Tromic. It says that's a sweet triangle in the middle. It says Hutch. Thank you so much. Banjo. The question is, how long do we wait to sub off Kara if he plays the same as last week? That's a John question. I think he. I mean, I think we should just make the changes right away.
Yeah, I mean, I think keep giving Carr a chance. I'm not going to rule him out after one game, sure,
Right.
but give him 60 minutes. Like Paula says, he's the DP. He does the thing that frustrates me about Carr is that he doesn't look like he's putting in a lot of effort, and that's what annoys fans. Like if you're Tesho and you run for 90 minutes but you can't score, we're still going to love you when you score that one goal. But if you don't run and you don't put in the effort, people are just going to be frustrated with you from the start. So it kind of looked to me like, I don't want to use the word lazy. He just looked like off the pace. So if he looks off the pace again, then he's coming off in 60 minutes for sure. And Enrique is going in. And, the other thing is, why not? Where's Duncan McGuire? Like he looked good in the
Right.
preseason. Like,
Yeah, he looked
does
really
Papi just
impressive.
think like he's not ready at all and that he doesn't want to play him yet? Because I would say why not even bring Enrique on to play instead of Angulo, like sub Angulo out and play Enrique on the wing. He can clearly play on the wing. He
Yeah.
looked good running down the wing. And then, put Duncan on as well and put both those guys on. Like, why not? I don't see the downside if Kara isn't, performing.
And I think Maguire, because of his size, he would be, in my opinion. I mean, Kara is also big, but I mean, I think the way Maguire has been playing very physical in preseason, he will be definitely a headache for Miazga. I think he will be able to definitely have some friction. Now, Miazga has also been very volatile when it comes to responding to aggression. Sometimes with some crazy yellows, and it's kind of like a Robin Jensen, which I want to say I called it. When in the predictions, is it who's gonna get the most the most yellow cards of the season? Robin Jensen.
Jensen has started off. He heard that he was on target to become most yellow cards, and he said, "Okay, I'll get that award."
Yeah, but I mean, he had no other choice if you think about it, because Rodrigo was leaving some huge gaps, and I guess that's one thing that I would say to Laurel, like you have to exploit. If those two, Rodrigo and Mauricio, are really not in here, they are going to leave some spaces, and that's where Brenner likes to shoot from distance, from but right outside the box. That's where Santos also can cut through. That's one thing. And Jansen tries to do double duty sometimes, and he gets into trouble. Um, so now let's switch it to Laurel. Let's do the 11 for FC Cincinnati. Your starting 11. How will you start against this Orlando City team?
I think it's going to be pretty much the same lineup as last week against
As last.
Houston, but I think Brenner starts. Santos is so fast and has injury history. I think they have to be careful with him, and so I think he's more of a spot starter. And if Brenner's ready to go, Santos kind of becomes the super sub. So I would put Brenner and Vasquez up top if you're doing that.
Yep.
And then Lucho there in the middle. So, yeah.
I'll fix it.
Yeah.
I'll fix it. Don't worry.
They're gonna. It's basically gonna be. You can either put it as a 3.
It's 5. It's a 5.
It'll be either
right?
a 3.
Yeah.
Let's see, a 3-4-1-2 is kind of how it ends up looking. A lot of people call it a 3-5-2, but the way they set it up is, I think even the team calls it a 3-5-2, but it seems more like a 3-4-1-2. So Acosta would be up there, where you've got, yeah,
Right there.
and then Moreno and Obi there in the middle with them.
Moreno right here. Hold on. Sometimes he likes to move. And then here we'll see the three in the back. So I think it was Mosquera,
Mascara.
Miazga, and Haglan, right?
Yeah.
So do you believe Haglan has improved? A lot of people give him a hard time. I think he has improved tremendously.
I
He has
think
a lot. He has a lot of heart. Every
he's
time, yeah,
yeah, I mean, definitely heart is probably the best way to describe him. I mean, and his work ethic and he puts everything out there, and so he knows that he's not the superstar player. He knows his weaknesses, and I think he just makes up for it with just. I mean, he just gives it everything he can. So he'll still have mistakes, but I mean, he runs faster than you think he can at times. Like, I don't know. I think
yeah,
he's been steady. He's been their most consistent. They can always count on him. He's not hurt. He's just the kind of player that you want on your team.
yeah,
He reminds me of an old school English center back. Like he
yeah,
just goes out there and does the hard graft and just like puts in a like I don't need to make any fancy passes. I'll win the ball back and lay it off to this guy. Just does a very hard job.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a good way to describe it.
So this is how FC Cincinnati could. I'm obviously I'm forgetting the keeper.
Oh,
Jeez, I'm forgetting
Solentano.
Celentano.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and so Celentano as a goalkeeper. You have Arias, Santiago Arias, Haglan, Miazga, Mosquera, Barreal. Two in the mid, Moreno and Obi. As your 10, Acosta, and then Brenner and Vasquez up top, which it's a dangerous. Like if you're playing, if you join our fantasy league, which we'll have the link before we go, we're gonna put the link right in the comments. I have Vasquez in my fantasy league. I mean, Brandon Vasquez,
Me too. He only got
yeah,
us 2 points. What
yeah.
happened, Laurel?
I don't
Tell us.
know, Laurel, what happened,
He
man?
had a couple breakaways. He should have at least had one of those goals, but I don't know. Just the whole team looked off. Really, I mean, even Pat Noonan in his post game said that there were really only a few players that stood out to him, and I think he's exactly right. I would say Celentano, Arias, Barrial played really well, and then I mean Obi was pretty good, but I mean it. Yeah, I mean those are the only ones I would really say stood out. So, I mean, I think it's a much better team than what we saw on Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see how they look against Orlando. Because, like what you were saying about Orlando, where it's early, you just don't know. And especially watching Orlando against New York Red Bulls, I think that's such a hard team to. The way Red
Guard
Bulls plays,
against,
it's
yeah,
so
the
hard to.
press.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like any other team you see. So kind of don't really know what
They
you've
don't
got
give
in
you any
Orlando.
time to build up the play, and that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
why we couldn't. Like we need to get going a little bit. So
yeah,
they stop all of our rhythm. That's like the worst thing for us.
yeah, and it was very apparent. I mean, and bringing to that point, Paola, out of this lineup for Orlando City, we already know this is probably how Cincinnati possibly could start based on Laurel's assessments here. Um, what would be the first few changes? Let's say it's 0-0 at the half.
Don't jinx it. I'm just
No,
kidding.
I'm just saying, 0-0 at the half, right?
Nil
And
nil on the half. I
like, I mean,
would
what changes would you make? I mean, I already have my three, but you can go ahead and I'll make the
Kara,
changes.
Kara and Ramiro again change that pace if the worst
Okay.
case scenario.
So you'll put
Um,
Enrique right here.
yep.
Okay, so you'll change Cara for Enrique. Okay.
And then hmm, I'm thinking here. I would have the line the defense. A funny thing. Well, not funny, but Pareja took out Facu and put Smith because we were in defense mode. So I'm not gonna put Smith for Facu
So
at the
we
50th
went
minute.
to the three at the back when he did that.
Right,
Yep,
That's why I
right.
it
was
was
like,
switch.
he's
Yeah, it
done
was
the Papu
switch.
special, and he's put three center backs in.
Yeah.
Yep. The other one will be um thinking ahead of the future, right? And we're thinking about winning Mexico. All depends. I will take out Mauricio and put a little bit of rest. Cartagena, put it there, and I would put Ojeda on the bench and put Dagger Dan. Same exact tactic on Saturday. I think Dagger Dan put a little bit of the pressure there for the Red Bulls, and that helped us a little bit more. And let's say if Kara doesn't move, as soon as possible, put Enrique because we need Enrique again, his speed. But I think we're gonna see more of passes throughout the first half to Kara. I'm not because like Laurel said it too. Red Bulls are a press team. They're defensively, and we saw it last Saturday. So again, that's why I'm glad that we started with that team, and we can see okay, these are the changes that we need to make in the beginning of the season. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I got hope for Kara for this Saturday. If not, bye bye, Enrique, you're up.
Well, I mean, what I would do, honestly, and then we'll read your comments in just a moment. So, first and foremost, we're facing two great strikers, in my opinion. Like, I have a huge regard for Brenner, and since he first came into the league, and even people in Brazil were like Cincinnati. They didn't even know how to pronounce Cincinnati. They're like, no, and I was like, no, it's a huge team. They have Chile, right? Cincinnati Chile, right? Right, Cincinnati Chile.
It's
I've
yeah,
had it. Some skyline,
sauce. Yeah.
some skyline, right? Skyline Chile. And what I would do is, 0-0. Let's say it's minute 75, 0-0. And I'm like, you know what? You see Brenner, or you see Rodrigo a little bit tired. Here you go. First and foremost, I'll have Cartagena. That's gonna be my first sub, because he can also go here, and we've seen him go right here. And then Araujo will be right here. And then Dagger Dan, I think it would be a great defensive minded in a way, going into the attack. And then the formation will go into a 5-4-1. And then there, in my opinion, you definitely put a block. So you're talking about good luck going through Jansen, Cartagena, and Dagger Dan fresh, right? Fresh. And then Araujo, which is like an energizer bunny when it comes to marking players. I think that's a good strategy. Now, I believe when it comes into the attack, I will bring. I will not experiment right now. I think Angulo's hot. Leave him right now. Gaston's still kind of getting back. Maybe we can have him for the next game. I will keep Angulo right there, if that's what he so choose. And then Ramiro Enrique, I will put him on top if Kara is not performing or doing any threat at all. Because one thing that we saw about Enrique as well, and I want to say this, is that he was there hustling for the ball. He was trying to recoup the ball. He was trying to take it away from the win backs for the Red Bulls. He was being like going back and forth. So I think this will be my options, in case it's 0-0 minute 75. I think we should not have a sub at the 90th minute, unless obviously we have this on the bag and it's 2-0 Orlando. Then if you want to make a 90-minute
Bring
substitution,
on
go
Duncan
ahead.
McGuire at the 90th minute.
Right.
Come on. He needs some minutes. Like, even if it's at the 90th, I'll take it.
And if he scores at the 90th minute, that says a lot, right? I mean, and I want to give
He only
another
needs
thing.
1 minute. That's it. Like, he'll prove it. That's fine.
Now, I want to ask you too, Laura, one thing when it comes to on the 1v1. I remember Haglund having a tough time against very 1v1 silky type of players. Like Ramiro Enrique is one of them. So right now, this is my prediction. 9:28 p.m., February the 27th on Monday. If Ramiro Enrique is 1v1 against Haglund on the box, it'll be a penalty. That's just I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts regarding that, Laurel? Am I being too?
No, he does make some. I mean, he does have to make up. He gets beat and then he'll get back, but sometimes it leads to not smart foul. I think he's gotten better with that. But yeah, I guess when I was saying that they're going to exploit that left side, you could also, I guess, say the same thing about attacking Hagland. That could be another thing that Orlando can take advantage of.
And something that we saw last Saturday, Laurel, is that Enrique and Angulo, they were pressing in that area. So we probably can see that next Saturday. And I was super sad, Enrique, when Enrique got the ball and was with Tolkien 101, and then he passed the ball and then he went to oh man, that was a big miss. And Facu, he was by himself next to him. Probably he didn't see him, but that was our second chance to go and score a second goal. But kudos for Ramiro. He just got here. I think this is the second week that he's been in Orlando, so he's gonna be big. And people underestimated him because when we saw him in preseason, people were like saying, "Oh, he's small. He doesn't have that bulk build for a forward, but he can hustle and he has speed, and that's what the team needs right now."
And I want to give the mic to John. John, what subs would you make?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna see the going to the three at the back like we did. If we're winning 1-up or 2-up, we're definitely gonna see that change. I think Cartagena could be that center back to come in. I think the other guy that we might see in the midfield at that point, based on what you were saying, that you need someone to just work hard or chase people down, is Felipe. We haven't seen him yet. And, he's experienced All-Star MLS guy that we can just throw in. And if we need someone to go in and say, close this game out, go chase down guys with Araujo, then
butcher.
Felipe could be the dude for that. The other thing is, maybe we see Gaston finally to get some minutes. Because he is here, he has been training, he's probably fit enough to play 20 minutes, so throw him on for 20 minutes, and then again, Enrique for sure will come on for Cara if he's not performing.
Do you think Facu will be playing all 90 minutes?
I mean,
I wouldn't take him out.
Subs. You could make more than 3 subs. So people forget that.
If he's hot, take him. No, don't take it. Yeah, but again, we're playing in Mexico, and if we want that win mentality, we don't know. We might see some change, 5 changes for this game, if we have it win. I don't know. There's a lot of questions that has not been answered last Saturday, so let's see what happens.
Oh, that's right. Let's read some comments. Banjo, I kind of like the idea of taking off Angulo for Gaston and Enrique, and let Maguire take over the Cara role. Brett Carl says, add Gaston. There you go. I think, John, answer your prayers, my friend. Flex, Cartagena, un desastre. This is a disastrous Cartagena. Oh, my God. Positive vibes. Look like we'll need Enrique sooner in the game, says Hutch. Thank you so much, my friend. Sweep the leg, Johnny. John's 100% correct, says Banjo. And Joshua Tall gives a thumbs up. So, it's definitely going to be a tough game against Cincinnati. I think it's going to be quite a test. Now, the question that I asked the whole panel, will Orlando go 2 wins at home back-to-back? How long has it been since the last back-to-back win at home? Last season was the worst home record, I think, in a long time, since Christ, in my opinion. I don't know, John.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between our squad and the Cincinnati squad. I think where we are in our life cycles as soccer teams is extremely similar. Yeah. I have a lot of respect for Cincinnati. I want to say to Laura, I think that they're a team like us that was built on a fan base, and they're not just some bought team. not referencing anyone in particular, but you
Gee.
might know who we refer to. So I have a lot of respect for them, and I think we find ourselves in the same scenario, right? Like Cincy, I think should be a top
Yeah,
3 or 4 team in the East, and
definitely
we should be a
this
top
year.
3 or 4 team. For me, it's like who's behind Philly, and this game has a lot on the line to kind of claim those higher ranking spots in the East. So it's interesting that it's so early in the season. And I think it's very difficult one to call. I do think we have maybe if we play the 4-2-3-1, we have an advantage in the midfield with the numbers because just Lucho and like 3 guys there with playing the 2 strikers, sometimes you can get an overload when you play a formation with more midfielders. So I think that could be an advantage. I think we're going to have more time on the ball than we did against the Rebels, like we discussed. I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory to Orlando. That's what I'm going to go for. And
2-1
that's kind of
victory.
hopeful. I can see it quite easily being a draw, but 2-1 for us is what I'm going to go for.
Okay. Laurel, I don't want to put you on the spot. What would you say would be your prediction score?
Well, I mean, I think that FC Cincinnati can score goals. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time reading this Orlando team. So I'm going to take the easy. I'm just going to say 2-2 draw.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'll take
I
it.
don't know. But, watching that Red Bulls game, seeing the one shot on goal, when I was thinking 2-2, I was like, well, maybe they can't score. Like, maybe it's going to be a win for Cincinnati. I mean, I think it could be a win for Cincinnati, but I don't think they're quite to the form that they want to be yet. They still got some things to figure out, and so I'm going to say 2-2.
2-2. Paola.
I'm gonna say 2-1. And this is if the defense is sharp and the offensive line can pass and they can shoot the ball. If we see what we saw in the first half on Saturday, we're screwed. So, like I said, they better be practicing in the trainings this week. If not, Laurel is going to be a tie. So, let's see what happens. We saw a lot of offensive plays on the preseason, but we are the same. We're trying to figure out a lot of stuff that we haven't. Half of the team is new, so they're trying to gel, be with each other, and blah blah blah. But it's gonna be tough. It's hard to read too. I will say I'm gonna be optimistic 2-1 if everything is sharp.
I want to see a phenomenal game attacking wise. I think Orlando has a lot of it's kind of like I'm referring Dragon Ball Z right here. It's like Gohan, right? It's sleeper power, like, and then you have Cincinnati already 2 proven strikers, like Brenner and Brandon Vasquez. I think we're going to see a drama of a match. I think Cincinnati is going to start winning 2-0, and then I'm hoping for a turnaround, like Disney movie ending, right? Quoting since we're in Orlando, right? 3-2 or 3-2 Orlando. Explorer erupts, right? The wall, all that stuff. So, I would love to see a game with 5 goals. I think both teams have the opportunities to definitely produce that. So hopefully that's
I mean, a
hopefully that's it.
game like that could easily go 3-2 Cincy. That's the
Yeah,
kind of game we're talking about.
two. That's two. Yeah, that you're completely right about that. And again, great players up top. And I wanted to, before we close, again, I wanted to thank Laurel for being with us today. And obviously, it won't be the last time that we have you over. We definitely enjoyed, you coming over here. And thank you for accepting our invitation to come to Loud and Proud. You can find Laurel. Here's her, her outlet, Queen City Press, queencitypress.net. All the info for FC Cincinnati is available here as well. I don't know if you want to give your social media. I know I have your Twitter as well, correct?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, and So my website, I'm glad you didn't. I haven't updated the homepage.
Oh
I
yeah.
It's through Patreon, so I update Patreon, and I always forget I have to
Oh
go back and change the order of the stories on there. So, but yeah, so Queen City Press is the site, and then I'm on Twitter. It's just my name, so at Laurel Pfahler, and then Queen City Press, and then there's like an underscore because somebody has taken that Queen City Press and they're not using it, so had to
yeah.
add the little underscore.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody go and follow Queen City Press and Laurel. A great outlet. A lot of the best stuff, the best coverage for FC Cincinnati for sure. That's one of the reasons why we invited her, because we wanted you guys to have the best content possible. That way we can get definitely a true in-depth idea of how this FC Cincinnati team is gonna play. So I want to thank Laurel for being with us. Any last words you guys want to say, John?
No, just other things that happened around MLS that were interesting. The St. Louis City. I
Oh
can't know
my
if I'm saying
God.
that right. I think it is St. Louis City. They're very important about the city. They had a crazy game against Austin where they won 3-2. And you got to go back and watch what Alexander Ring did. He made the worst back pass of all time for one of those goals. So congratulations to them on winning their opening MLS game. That's never easy to do. Also, Philly with the big 4-1 win over Cincinnati was showing that they're really, dominant. Speaking of MLS and the fantasy, you guys should sign up for our fantasy league.
Yep.
Luis, I'm sure you can share the details of that on the screen.
Yeah, I'm sharing it right now. Hold on one second. I'm putting it right now.
And it
Boom,
was
right here.
Philly against, wasn't it NYCFC? Was that
No, I think it was Philly against Cincinnati.
No,
Sorry.
no.
Sorry, not Cincinnati. The other Ohio team, Columbus. Okay, my Ohio team is mixed up. Columbus.
Columbus? That's right.
Columbus, yeah.
Which
Yeah,
under Wilfred Nancy could be a very good team this year, and they beat them 4-1. So they gotta get their act together. Other interesting results: DC over Toronto 3-2. So this Toronto team not having a great start, and Atlanta. You gotta watch out for Thiago Almada. That guy scored 2 goals in the 80-something minute for Atlanta. Very dangerous.
Definitely. I'm sending the link for the league so everyone here in the chat could join the league. Right now, I want to give a shout out to, let me pull up the right here. I want to give a shout out to, let's see, the teams. Damage K16, that's my team. I80 Sports Bob Ventimiglia, Red Bulls. Want to say hello to him. Bob, thank you so much. Dan Larea. Then you got Hollandaise Sauce, Facundo Torres, Lucas, Cici Rogero, Flores Purple, Logan Sharp, and City Zone Tommy. Come on, City. Thank you so much for joining the league so far. It's welcome for everyone to join. I just sent the link right there on the comment section. Feel free to join. And I want to again thank Laurel for being with us today. Paola, anything you want to add?
Absolutely. So tomorrow, follow us in my Spanish podcast, Tiro de Esquina. We're gonna record the episode 15 talking about what happened last Saturday. Follow us on social media at Tiro de Esquina OC. I put a little vlog in Instagram of what happened at the tailgate. Funny story, my microphone was off. So when I was interviewing people, it was off, but I did a voiceover. So it's kind of, saying what they were saying in the microphone because I remember. So follow us. That's our Twitter right there. That's our new logo. Shout out to Moraima. She
Yeah,
designed it and she
fantastic.
drew it. So Tiro de Esquina OC. That's the same user name for Instagram. Follow us so you can see the video that I just uploaded earlier today. So you can see the tailgate, what we did in the tailgate celebration, the typho, that it was amazing. If you didn't see the
Oh yeah.
typho on Saturday, you can see the crocodiles eating a flamingo and a trophy. So I don't know about that, but it was amazing. So follow us. Thank you for your support, and vamos Orlando.
Vamos Orlando, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Laurel.
Vamos
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Orlando.
Thank you
Laurel.
for having me. I hope to join you again sometime in the future.
Yep. We'll
Thanks.
definitely
Good luck
will.
on
Have a
Saturday.
good one. Good
Thanks.
luck. Bye.